We're starting, so real quick, well, Kevin, why don't you start since you really haven't you got a few people you know. Do you want to everything going?
Oh, well, um, we've got somebody in Houston that we need to get together with. It's got a house that is in a homeowners association, which is the first mistake that anybody wants to make. That's the one to make. Nobody should buy anything in a homeowners association. Um, it's just too much of a pain in the butt to deal with it. And then you can't really sell it because it's in a homeowners association. So for investors, stay away from homeowners associations. And you should be able to find that information at the county on the deed. It should tell you whether or not there's an association attached to it. But there are still people out here that make that mistake. So we're going to be trying to extricate her from that and get her all hooked up with this because that's what she needs. And the other thing is the rates that are going on out here. This is where private money separates itself from the rest of the junk. The only thing that you have to worry about if you're a private lender is making sure that you can get access to your cash because the banks are getting funky now. But other than that, if you can get it set up with a private lender, you don't have all these things going on. Okay. It has no effect on what you're doing. And then if you have the right terms, you can ride through anything. And a lot of people, 3% interest, simple interest loans, 30, 40-year terms, that's how this whole thing got started. And so if you can afford to take the time, and that shouldn't be hard to do considering our system that we have here, you should be able to find just about anybody you want that'll do that. And then at the same time, if you're going to start working on trying to get portfolios together, you need to be careful there because they are working on trying to get their hands on those, that is the federal government, and try to do some kind of antitrust stuff with that. Good luck. But the fact that they're even thinking about doing that scares the heck out of me. So you have to be a balanced commercial property. You should get some pretty decent terms out of that. But again, you need to make sure that you stay away from offices. If you're going to do something with that you can convert to residential, which is something that we've done here in Kansas City on a number of places, that might be the move to make. Okay. So we just have to kind of keep an eye on what we're doing here and make sure that we're on top of it. And for the most part, we're the only outfit that really is, because of the way we're structured and all the different people that are involved in this. It keeps this thing fresh. And then now that you have the AI components put into here, it speeds that up and filters a lot faster, and you can stay ahead of the game instead of trying to, tread water getting it done. So,
All right, cool. Well, hey, everybody. I'm just going to real quick since some of you may not have met Kevin. Kevin's been one of my partners since 2019. So,
Got a quick question for Kevin, if I might.
Yeah, Curtis.
Kevin, what's an example of the banks are getting funky about private lending and getting access to your capital?
Well, it's a matter if you're a lender, if you're a private lender, okay, you don't really want to park your money in a bank because they're structured right now. They're pretty fragile, actually. And I'm seeing a possible complete restructuring of the United States economy money-wise. The structure itself, I think, is going to change dramatically in the near future. So if you've got a bunch of money parked in a bank and that's what you're using to go back and forth with, you might have a problem there. Unless you can get an overseas bank, an offshore bank, you need to find another way of doing this.
Where would you park your money then?
Well, again, it's a matter of what form you're taking it in and what you can and can't do. I'm not sure what your particular position is. If you're using a 401k or something like that, it's there, but they may end up trying to, especially if the Democrats try to get their hands on this, you may end up losing it. Most of the
what
banks
about a credit union?
Well, most of the banks now are tied in with Fed One.
Okay.
And if they go digital on any of this, they control everything you're doing.
And
Yeah.
Kevin, they just put FinCEN finally in place. FinCEN finally. We're
But,
talking about it for the last year. So we'll
yeah.
explain that a little bit later. I don't want to go too much into the finance.
No, and it's this is something that we're probably going to have to look at as a group. Nate and I will sit down and try to figure out how to put all this together. But we'll have to note or have to look into other avenues of where to park your cash.
Would credit unions be
I'm
of
thinking that might
consideration?
be. Yeah, I'm thinking that I'm kind of leaning in that direction. I'm also there's a way that you could set up your own bank, and that may be a way to go.
Yeah. So Kevin, you real quick before I move in, because I got a couple of people I do want to introduce it. But do you want to
Okay.
kind of give them your Federal Reserve and how you got connected?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm one of the founders of the private money industry, and it came about in a very weird way. It's not something we set out to do. I don't know if it was accident, divine providence. The way it went down was really funky, but I put together a group of people here in Kansas City, along with the Western Missouri legal aid attorney. They have a contract with Kansas City, the neighborhoods, to be able to facilitate getting bad houses up to shape and occupied. I helped strengthen those laws. We helped put a land bank together so that they could get the stuff directly instead of going through the county. You can get it from the city. All the ways that you can use to get this stuff moving and keep it moving. We put the group together. It was called the Common Sense Housing Initiative. I now own it. It's for profit, CSHI LLC in Wyoming. I'm the last of the people that are involved in that. But what ended up happening is there was a gal that used to be a city councilwoman here, and her expertise was housing. And she moved, well, her husband and her have a place here in Kansas City, but she ended up working in Minneapolis, St. Paul, doing housing stuff up there. Well, she knew some people at the Federal Reserve, and she set up a meeting with us and the powers that be in the Federal Reserve Bank so that we could explain to them what we're trying to do. At the time, we were trying to put together a loan guarantee fund because all these properties you couldn't get a loan on because it wasn't worth anything. This was the cheapest real estate on the planet, literally, okay, was in Kansas City. You could buy a lot for $300. You could buy a house for $4,000 or $5,000 all day long. Okay. So obviously you can't get a loan on that because there's not enough value to hold that up. The market was that deflated. So after we got done talking to these people, they went ahead and set up another meeting with Obama's alphabet soup from Washington. That's the SEC chairman, FDIC chairman, whoever handles the credit unions, SECU or whatever that is. All these different people, the treasurer was there. They came in for a meeting, and we were invited to a meeting. We weren't told anything about it. We were just invited to a meeting by the Fed, at the Fed, which I'd never heard of that ever happening before. And we all sat down there, and we thought we were in the wrong room. If you're sitting here listening to the way these guys talk, and they're actually meeting for real, okay, this is stuff that you're not supposed to know anything about, kind of thing. So we were rather shocked about what we were hearing. In fact, the matter is the entire economy had crashed in 2008. They just didn't let anybody know about it. They had ways of manipulating some stuff. Well, long story short, we told them what we were trying to do here, and they're like, well, this is no problem. All you got to do is put 10% in any bank, no questions asked, and they'll give you the money. The key word was no question asked, or the phrase no questions asked. There's no qualifying. All you have to do is cover the 10% it's going to take to buy the insurance for the bank to do all this, so that they're not going to put the stuff to, expose it to risk. That's the problem. They were trying to find a way of doing that. And then when we told them what we were going to do, we told them what the challenges were and what we're running into legally. And it turns out that now that you have all these relaxations and changes in the SEC and the way they're handling, investments, the 401ks, the term qualified investor all of a sudden shows up out of nowhere. Okay. You can get $2 or $5 million you can raise on your own. You used to be, you had to have a license for all this. All of that stuff came out of this meeting. So instead of it just being hard money, now everybody can do it. Okay. You can use your 401k, you can use your retirement, you can do all kinds of stuff without any restrictions. So that just opens up, as you all probably will know by now, opens up a whole new avenue. And now the banking industry doesn't necessarily have to worry about real estate anymore, because private individuals can carry that load better than the banks ever could. And so that left them with the commercial stuff. Now it's to the point where commercial's in the same boat as what residential was back in 2008, and they're probably going to do the same thing there. So it just made things work a lot easier. They relaxed all the stuff that made it where everybody can do this. You could have your own firm doing this. You don't have to worry about all the regulations regarding that. You can broker for people, okay? So long as you stay within those bounds, you're good to go. Nate can tell you about that. I mean, he and I both ran into the same individual at different times, Lee Arnold. I got him to come down here because he was the closest thing to what we were doing, so I could explain to him that we've got some stuff we want to do. It was a totally separate meeting, and he went ahead and had one of his classes here that same weekend. It kind of made the trip worthwhile. So I ended up doing that with him too. So I'm certified. He's, Nate's certified. And that's the only certification there is. Now we got the National Private Lenders Association, and I happen to have the guy's personal phone number that's running that. He used to be NBC's business correspondent, not MSNBC or CNBC, but this is before cable came out. Okay. He was the guy, and he and his sons are now doing this, and it's taking off. So here we are. Another individual that you guys may have worked with from time to time, she's a member of this outfit that we have here. She's in Atlanta. She was one of the individuals at those meetings. She was working at the Fed as an official at the Fed here in Kansas City. Okay. And she's now loaning money herself and brokering for people. That's her main way of doing things. And I didn't even know about who I was talking to until she started talking about what she was doing in the past. I'm like, yeah, I think I know who you are. She was shocked when she found out who she was talking to. So we have two founders of the private money industry in our group, one from the Federal Reserve side and one from the private money side, Cool. And it's been hard to keep up with everything that's been going on, but the only thing that's going to keep us afloat is if we can keep our money from getting pilfered by the government, any way, shape, or form, and it's state as well as federal,
Cool.
because they'll do anything to get their hands on the money because they're so desperate. And that would be the absolute disaster. That would be, we wouldn't have an economy if it wasn't for us right now, I'll be honest with you. That's the way it was designed, to be able to cushion economic shocks and still keep the things going here for people.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Kevin. Hey, I'm gonna say Brandon. What's going on, man? How are you? Just so I can introduce you because I know you haven't been on for a while. What's going on, dude?
I'm doing good.
I know. So, hey, guys, everybody, I finally got to meet Brandon. He was in Denver last weekend. So that was a good time. And Dakota and Darren and a few other people that are in our group that are. So that was good. And 2 or 3 people, actually, like 2 people recognized me and goes, "Are you the AI guy?" That was kind of cool. So, yeah, what's going on with you? I know you had to. We'll figure out the open AI stuff for you because I know you're having an issue with that. But do you kind of want to let everybody know, what you're doing, for your real estate stuff?
So I've mostly been a buy and hold investor. I think right now I've got about 40 properties. We like to do some flips in between. And I've recently come to a couple of conclusions. One, I think I'm done with single family homes. I've been getting rid of those. Right now I've got small multifamily. I think my largest unit's a 9. And I think I'm done with Democratic states too. I think I'm going to head down to Ohio and Indiana and
yeah, that's part of what I was talking about. See, these Democrats don't really like anything that we're doing, and they're making it hard on everybody. So you need to stay away from those as much as you can. I mean,
Brandon, so I saw that that $1 million thing, and can you? I didn't know what that was. Where the one that you took the pictures with, that $1 million club. What was? Can you explain?
So
Because I know that was like a
I
piece.
still don't think they do their math properly, but it's supposed they were kept saying it was $1 million worth of revenue over the year, which I kept telling them I did not do.
Yeah.
But they kept saying that I had, acquired more than several $1 million worth of property, so I still qualified. So I still don't think I deserve that award. I told 5 people on their team, they told me just to go with it. So it's
Yeah.
probably more of a sales pitch on their end to make other people say, "Look, everybody's doing good." But
Where they printed everything before they could fix it. I don't know, man. No, I saw that. I was wondering that because I saw a couple of other people on Facebook posting that from that event. So that was cool. So everybody wants to know that was like Pace Morby's event in Denver at the Gaylord. It was pretty packed. I went out there for 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, so I was going to introduce Kevin Flowers after you because he's on his way home because he came on about 2 weeks ago. He is from Detroit, and I want to get him hooked in as all of you from Michigan. So I try to get him to
before
come.
you, before I
Yeah,
jump off, I just wanted to say, Kevin Knapp, you're an interesting dude, man. I'd like to talk to you some more.
yeah, I'll set you guys up.
Yeah, he'll get my contact info. Oh, by the way, did you get my updated phone number, right, Nate?
Yeah, I'll get it out to everybody.
Okay. Yeah, we got to
I'll
change
get it
that.
out to
But
anybody who
yeah,
wants
that'd
to
be great.
talk to Kevin about some stuff because he has some good background and plus, automotive and real estate in Denver. His family's all over West Denver. So, so cool. All right, Brandon, I appreciate it. I know you. So let me try to get Kevin Flowers. Are you able to talk now, or do you want to wait till you're home? If you want to wait till you're home, that's cool. Then I can go to somebody else. I just want to do these updates real quick, and then I'm going to do a quick. I'm going to do. Then I'm going to hit the. Then I'm going to hit GPT, and hit the.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'm still traveling.
Okay, let me get somebody else real quick. Hey, Fred, are you able to? Let me get Fred, and then I'll get.
Yeah, hey, what's going on, Nate?
Then I'll get Tanya and Willie. And cool, dude. What's going on?
Oh, just still plugging away, trying to get everything kind of dialed in and
Okay.
uh, just keeping at it.
So I'm going to, and I'm going to announce tomorrow. Matter of fact, I'll just do it now. I was going to announce it later. I'm going to actually tomorrow. I'm actually onboarding, just like everybody else, like as an RC with a separate. I got an email account. I'm going to get a separate GPT just for RCIC, and I'm an onboard. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be showing everybody kind of like a process that I think is easier, just to kind of make it a little bit. Maybe some people get some different, on how to get their agents set up and stuff. So I'm actually going to do it because right now, no matter what I do, it shows as a developer, even if I try to go into core while I'm on the session. So I know you've been trying to figure out the EDI stuff and get that early stuff going. So I think I'm going to try it, but I'm going to do it over. It's going to take me like all 4 the next Thursdays. And I'm going to try to bring up like every week. I'm going to try to do tools and agents and get it to go predictive in about a total of about 4 to 5 hours over the next 4 to 5 Thursdays. So that should help everybody. So I know you're trying to get the EDI stuff. How close are
Yeah.
you getting to that?
I still about where it was last time we talked. It's we've had other issues coming up, and it keeps pulling my focus away every time I try to get started again on it. So
Yeah.
we're still kind of in that
Because I got something that I
figuring
think
it out phase.
I'm going to try to show it either tomorrow or on next Thursdays. Something with the prompts and stuff. Because there's a prompt for that. So
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah, cool. All right, cool. Thanks, Fred. I'm gonna try to do this real quick. Let me go ahead and try to get to Willie real quick. Do you want to kind of give everybody an update on you're doing capital connecting and TC stuff. If anybody needs talk to Willie, he's got a lot of good programs for money, but he's also a transaction coordinator.
Yeah, he's one of our oldest funders, so to speak. And he's got a lot of experience, not to mention a lot of territory that he can throw at you. So
Yep.
pay attention.
And we might have Ari next week. Should be able to. He might be able to come on next week, so that'll be good to have Ari and Willie back. So, Willie, do you want to give an update real quick, or?
No, I'm at work. Just listening.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, if you can't, yeah, that's cool. Then we'll get you on when you can talk. I know you're doing some other things, so let me kind of get around a couple more people. Hey Tanya, so I'm gonna let's set up our one-on-one for Friday, like you said. So I can try to get you situated. But I may between tonight and tomorrow night, you may something may click as well. Just to let you know, because I'm going to show tomorrow night. I'm gonna basically, like I said, I'm gonna start as like I'm gonna come in as like a regular person, not myself.
Yeah,
So
that would be awesome because I'm kind of, like I said, just feel like I'm dog paddling in this circle and I'm trying to figure
yeah,
it out.
it's just something that's in there with the agents, and I'm like trying to figure out what's missing there. Like, because some people are just like it hits right away, and then so I think between tomorrow night, I don't know if I'll be able to do it tonight, but tomorrow night I'm going to do it as a like I'm one of you, like I'm just like somebody onboarding, and I'll have the Zoom on. I'll kind of walk everybody through the process,
Sure,
kind
it's
of like
user
that
error
process.
on my end.
Yeah, kind of like that process I showed. We were on the one-on-one before, so that should help a little bit. And then if not,
Awesome.
like I said, we'll do our one-on-one on Friday afternoon.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool. All right, let me get to a couple of other people real quick. Let me get to Amanda. What's going on?
Well, I got a deal assigned today for with a JV partner for like 30 grand assignment fee.
It's a
So
good
that's
deal.
always nice. Yeah. And EMD's already in, so pretty happy about that. And
Wow.
then I have 8 others in the pipeline.
Well, that's good. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, and
And
you know what?
Amanda,
Most of them
um,
are coming from follow-up. Just basically setting and forgetting a drip sequence, and they'll come back alive. And either myself or I have a subcontractor who now is probably as good of a closer as myself, that reach out. And it's just, I feel like all of my hard work is finally getting a lot of traction. So it feels good. What were you going to ask me, Tanya?
yeah, I was just going to ask, like, how long have you been working on this? And are those leads coming from this system?
No, not yet. I've actually been working with Lou offline on how to start funding those. And thanks, Brandon, into my pipeline. I'm one of
Yeah.
those people that I always invest in myself, education, etc. And I pretty much figure out pretty quickly whether or not a group or something is good. I make it a point now to always show up to these with Nate because, you know, for what the price of admission was just like insanely cheap here. And I know it won't be in the future, but I mean, it's just amazing how much value I've gotten. And I probably spent at least 40 grand on myself because, I'm single, I have a lot of disposable income, and I find I learn by just immersion, right? And quite frankly, the less expensive uh, stuff seems to pay off and actually be legit versus all the shiny objects that are out there. I still haven't seen that, Nate, that you had a guru thing that you reverse engineered, like 200 gurus. I definitely want to see that PDF.
Well, no, because I think I have a PDF on that, but I pretty much just like copy and paste them into the prompt bar to reverse. And it's probably I can go down to it's in the chat somewhere. I gotta find it where I put the chats. There's also some in projects where I actually do that now, where I'll go and reverse engineer something or review it. I just did one. Well, I just did one last night. I'll tell everybody about the Zoom I did last night, which is kind of interesting. Also, just I want to kind of clarify because Lulu, his if you guys see him, because if I introduce him, you see him in the group. LO, it's Lou and Lulu. I don't know his first name's Eric. His real name's Eric, and then his partner Michael. So Eric is the one who basically and did like what is it? I think 1,000. He pulled 1,000 leads, foreclosure leads, and they ended up putting them through deal analysis and skip tracing and got down to like 10 in like 12 minutes, which is like that's really incredible. Eric, he's also telling me that he's basically within 97% accuracy. So he was really good accuracy on MAO. So he's really, I mean, he's almost ahead of me on. He took the skip tracing prompt that I developed and basically ran with it. I know he's also using some. He's using also Freedom Software. I think if it's Freedom Software, there's also another program that he's using, a third-party program, kind of like with Bill. Bill is using PropWire on some things, which the free version of it. But it's so I mean, but I said he's really killing it down there. Him and his partner are really with what they're doing. So it's really, I mean, I would love it if a lot of people are ahead of me, like just because I have to be kind of a generalist now, and so if everybody can go specifically into their strategy and what they're doing, and they can get really far ahead, then it's good for everybody because everybody gives feedback.
So, with all your stuff going, Amanda, do you have an idea of how much volume you can do deal wise a month?
No, I really haven't figured that out. Ari and I have been talking because he really wants me to start taking down deals. Whereas, I mean, I was in the car business, as I think you know, Kevin. I used to touch 100 deals a month as a finance manager, right? And there weren't too many finance managers that could handle that. But at a Jaguar Land Rover store, where mostly a paper, auto bills, etc., it was manageable for me. I also had started in subprime, and trust me, touching 60 of those deals a month was a lot more of a challenge, where if they fogged a mirror, they could get rolled. But I guess to answer, going back to what Tanya was talking about, pretty much everything works. You've got to find something that works with your rhythm and your personality.
Yep.
Because if you're a data-driven person, or you're a people person, it's really going to determine what kind of system works best for you. Because, like Eric was talking about, Lou, I know he's on Facebook as Lulu, and I know him as Eric now, of course. But I don't want to be confusing to anyone that knows him as Lulu, right?
Yeah, we got another Eric, just like we have the two Kevins on tonight.
Yeah, we got a lot of people here now.
We got Eric and Eric. We got Eric Reisner. We got Eric Lulu. So.
The apocalypse is nigh when another Amanda shows up. But anyway,
we got like 5 Chris's.
So what I would say is that for me, I'm very much a people person, and one thing that Eric was talking about, he was like, well, I can do it. I was like, oh my God, I could not do that. Like dig around in data. I said, I like spreadsheets because they tell me how much I'm winning. Other than that, you won't watch me build a spreadsheet. I'll extract data from it, and that's about all I want to do from a spreadsheet, right?
Well,
but there are some people.
Here, you got this program with AI here that'll do everything we're talking about in a flash.
That's why I love it so much.
Well, now with that in mind, okay, what do you think your monthly deal flow is going to look like?
I really think that I can handle 20 a month, and maintain it. And I think if I started taking some down, I could probably handle another 5. So like 5 that I actually cherry picked and 20 that I wholesale.
Well, that's going to mean that 1 week you're going to have 2 closes a day. Because if you're doing 20 a month, that's 1 every day, every business day.
Yeah.
So this is the reason why I'm bringing this up. That's acquisition. Now, what are you going to do to sell?
So I actually have JV partners, which is one of the reasons why I think 20 is reasonable.
Okay.
I had a JV partner actually do better with this Mobile deal than I was able to on my own, just because acquisitions has pretty much been my lane for the last year, right? And I was trusting dispo teams that it became very clear. Because when I first got into wholesaling, I did 100K in assignments in my first 16 weeks. I locked a contract every single week, and 5 of them crossed the finish line. They were originally assigned for 100, but a buyer basically pulled some dirty stuff an hour before closing on the last one, and so we net 89 in assignments. And that was my first foray, and I got burnt out because I switched to cold calling leads after working with Facebook leads. And then I ended up getting pulled into someone else's business because I don't know, I just have that personality where people want to put me in charge of other people. And I quickly realized I'm at a stage in my life I just don't want to babysit, right? I want to work with A players. This is something Eric and I were talking about last night. A
Yeah,
players. Yeah, does that make sense?
yeah, it does. And this is the reason why I was bringing all this up, because after a while, you're going to look back and go, how in the name of God did I get this far this fast? And then what am I going to do with it now? And so you're already in a frame of mind where you can handle that kind of question at any time and not worry about it. A lot of other people just don't have that capability. And they could be good JV partners and they could do a certain amount of the stuff that you can do, but they're not the kind of person that can actually take it on and stay with it. And that's what I was kind of hoping you would say, because my first time when we got together, I sort of got that impression that that's the way you were going to end up being. And it's a natural, it's just, that's your nature. Most people that are in the automotive, especially the marketing part, are that way, just to let you know. And it's hard to give up something and not have something to come back in behind it. So that's part of the thing with the Stevenson deal. Yeah, they got into automotive, but the other part of it was they were in real estate just as much as they were in, automotive. And, you got to have a backup plan. And real estate's a good sound backup plan if you're going to try to do something else for, it sounds like you need to just stay with this and to heck with everything else. So what are you going to do? How long are you going to go down this road?
Real estate is, I'm in a good position because the car business was really good to me, and I bought 3 homes in Colorado from the age of 25 until I turned 40. And those homes obviously did very well when I exited them. And so I've got the financial security from that. Now, part of me, wants to do hindsight 2020, but I wouldn't have had the ability to just move here to New Mexico. And I'm in a tiny house on wheels, which a lot of people would not want to trade that off, right? But I love being mortgage free. I have land. I'm gonna either put the tiny home or a manufactured home and then DSCR. So I mean, I'm in the position where I really can do whatever I want. I could go work at Walmart and still be financially secure. And I just like being at a point where I wake up and I get to do what I want to do because I want to do it. And it's a good place to be in life, right?
Yep.
And so I've loved being in this group because I feel like there are several people in this group that are at that stage of life. And those are the types of circles you want to stay in because, otherwise it's crabs in a bucket mentality. And people are, limiting, and they don't even realize they're limiting you. They really don't. If you've got people who have no limits around you and they're like, hey, I'm truly free. I'm beholden to no one and nothing, right? But it's a powerful position to be in.
Well, I'm debt free, and it didn't take a whole lot to do that. You got to know how to structure everything, and then you don't want to let people try to dictate what you're going to do and what you can't do because you know better than that anyway. So you're one of the people that I would like to get to know, basically because we think a lot alike. Got to say that. But it's hard to be able to find people that are this way because they'll do anything they can, and a lot of them don't even know they're doing it, to get in your way and take your time and just basically sap the life out of you. And there's probably 90% of the people out here are like that.
Cool. All right. Let me get to Curtis real quick because I want to get through these real quick. Curtis, what's going on? How are you?
Yeah, I'm just plugging along and feeling pretty good because some of these roadblocks that I hit, it's kind of like learning by failure, and it's learning by being told that you can't do that eventually. But I'm just trying to take my experience from a couple decades ago, or maybe even more, and bringing that old school stuff and putting it into AI. So what I know that I can do and what's out there in the world is more automated and can maybe scale it to areas that when I was doing this in the 80s and early 90s, it was all manual labor. You know, it was real estate and finding leads, especially when I was attending all the auctions in LA County, Orange County, Southern California. We'd run out of leads and my cousin and I would just hit the road and we'd go to law libraries and look at newspapers at the legal ads and generate leads that way. And it was fun. We had a good time, but it was sure cumbersome. And so now a lot of this stuff's available right here in the comfort of my home. And I'm right now, I'm following the suggestions of RCIC, of ChatGPT, and how to structure my business model and the architecture that's involved. And right now it's all pointing to Airtable as kind of a central component that exists outside of RCIC, even though there's a connection that can be made through the apps. But I found out just today that what I've been trying to do for the last 2 days, it can't be done by ChatGPT because it doesn't know the metadata that is required to build tables in Airtable. It can run tables once they're built, but you can't use ChatGPT to build the tables from scratch. So that only took me 2 days to find out that. So little things like that, but at least
it'll lay out a lot of the stuff for you. You still got to go to Airtable and do it.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to be familiar with Airtable to know where to type this stuff in. And the schema that it produces is not really something that Airtable can digest. It needs to be done. So it's just a learning thing.
Once you get your Airtable set up, though, it's going to fly. I mean,
yeah. Once I get that done, that's going to be a major component done. And I'm really in no rush, like I've mentioned before in these Zooms. That I just am trying to supplement some income. I'm pretty comfortable where I am right now. I live in a nice place right across the street from a river that I like to fish, and things are going pretty good. So anyway, I guess hopefully I'll have a better report next time we meet, but there'll be some progress made. But I think I've really cracked the code now, and I am going to be able to make some pretty good progress and get this dragster fueled up and floored and get down the runway here. So
cool, Curtis. All right, thank you. Kevin Flowers, are you ready yet? Are you home yet? Or I can go to Doris if you're not. And Kevin, I also want to introduce you to Brandon since he's also in Michigan. So part of that Michigan group. So we'll have I think now we have like 10 people in Michigan, which is interesting. We have as many people there as we do in Texas.
So mostly Michigan people for you.
Yeah, let me see. I'll try to get you unmuted. If not, I'll go to Doris real quick. Is she Doris?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey.
How everybody doing?
What's up? How are you? I haven't talked to you in a while.
I know. I've been sick. I had a reaction to some medication. And then we had all this rain, and let's just make a short version of it. I had an electrical problem that blew out my computer and my laptops.
Oh, I
and we
remember.
didn't know what was going on. So we finally got an electrician in. And I'm like, are you serious? Somehow the panel got wet and we had to go through the whole quagmire and finally just got a piece of a laptop to use. And I'm like, I've got to get back into the boat here. So I'm here.
So did you get your? Do you have a? Because I can send you the links to get into the RSIC.
Yeah, I need to play catch up.
Yeah, I'll get to that link. So everybody, Doris has been in with us for about 3 years. She came out. You came in about the same time we did. So yeah, so she's in Pennsylvania. Anybody, that's pretty cool. If anybody wants to ever see Pennsylvania's like their paperwork for the state, I'm pretty sure they still use what Benjamin Franklin wrote. Because it looks like that old fashioned, like, ye old, or whatever, It's all like formalized, like, it looks like script from like the 1800s or the 1700s. It's all formal.
Well, it's a Commonwealth for you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, come on. It's not that bad.
And I know Ario's asking about you, Doris. He's like, hey, where's Doris been?
Oh, tell him I'm touched that he missed me.
He'll be on next week.
Okay, I'll make sure. I may be a little late, but I will be getting here because
And then we have tomorrow night. We're doing Wednesdays and Thursdays. Do you want to really quick let everybody know kind of what you're interested in real estate?
Oh, what I'm interested in, multifamily, 5 and above. They'll tell you that I seem to be able to find stuff.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time on Crexy when Doris is on. And I got a trick to show you once you have RSIC, once you actually have it, Doris, and how you can get like information from Crexy. Just don't tell. Well, I just put on the recording, but just yeah, I got a trick for everybody that you can kind of like see things you probably shouldn't see without a paid subscription.
Yeah, well, here's something that I saw on my way home tonight. There is I guess a 200 plus multifamily unit that is boarded up. I mean, dry not sheetrock, plywood, boarded up all the windows. And this is the one I told you last year where it was the lender was HUD.
Oh, yeah.
And there was like a partnership in there. And they kind of found out that people was making complaints to the city that they didn't have heat and water, and those are two things that you cannot get by in the state of Pennsylvania. You got to have heat and you got to have water. And it's a partnership that own it, like 5 or 6 people own it, and the city tried to work with them. And the next thing I saw was plywood just boarded up all this unit. It's like 5 blocks. From townhouses to apartment complexes that have been boarded up. Nothing. And no one can figure out what's going on. But I do know that the HUD loan at the time that it was originally bought, was it 50 mil? So I don't know what HUD's doing with it. I'm kind of curious. I might have to check it out tomorrow. See, I've got to check out the resources I used to have downtown before my health issues, and see if they can give me some 411 on it. And I know that the city would work with the person or group, but they got to show they have the funds.
Yeah, we had the same problem here in Kansas City with an entire district, Great Park, and they ended up HUD put it in receivership, took over the thing. They're demolishing it. And they're putting a whole other system in with somebody else taking over.
I don't.
Maybe you may have
that might be the way to go, but I don't know. But I just know that it kind of struck me strange because first I thought maybe there was a fire in a couple of them, but listen to people talking. They tell me the whole area, like I said, it's about 5 blocks.
Yeah.
And
that's what we had over here at Parade Park. And HUD put it in receivership, and the city, same setup. It was working with them, and now they found another developer, and they're just going to completely redevelop it with a whole new housing community. So you might want to check with the city and HUD and see if they're, what their plans are. But if you're interested in doing it, you might want to let them know that you are, and take a look at what kind of resources you have available to do that, and they'll probably let you take it.
No, I don't have 20 million floating around. I would have to have partners. I don't even think a DCR would cover me for something like
Well,
this.
get all the details and we
Yeah,
got more people in the group now than and we'll try
got
to
a lot of room here.
yeah
Okay.
no
Well, I'll look into it. Give me about a week. Give me to about next week this time because people
yeah
gonna have
no
shell
rush.
shock.
I'm just happy you're back because I mean
Yeah, you're not the only one. People are shell shocked. We thought you was dead. I'm like, hey, life
well
happens,
no
you know.
I mean right now we're all worried about Jesse because he's got some issues.
Does he?
Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, I'll update everybody. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, and I'll figure out what's going on and let everybody
yeah.
who knows him. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Doris. I appreciate it. Let me get to Kevin Flowers, and then I can get into tonight's what I'm going to talk about
Okay.
tonight.
Tell Nate I said welcome back because I hadn't seen him since dog days.
Yeah, no, I'll talk to him.
Okay.
I mean, he's
Thanks.
yeah, I think he's back to work now, but yeah, he's had some issues. Kevin Flowers, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Nate?
Pretty good, man. Hey, I'll make sure I introduce you to Brandon. He's on, so I can try to connect you guys because he's in Michigan with that group. And so that way you can hook up with them.
Hey, what's going on, Brandon?
Yep. So that'd be
How's it going,
awesome.
Kevin?
Cool. And then we need to do your one-on-one. So do you want to kind of let everybody know because we got some new people again? What you know, we try to repeat it every week because we always have people come. A lot more people are coming back now. A lot of our veterans are circling back, which is great. So
I'm totally unfamiliar with AI, so I'm very
yeah,
excited about being a part of the group. Uh, just joined what a week ago, Nate?
2 weeks. Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
yeah, you've been on a
Uh,
couple of things already, so that's a good thing.
yeah.
We'll do your
Uh,
one, and I'll get
got a
you. Tomorrow,
background
you
in
might
real
see
estate.
something tonight, and definitely tomorrow night. I'm gonna onboard like I'm actually one of you guys. So I'm actually gonna show people that process of setting all that up. So that may help you. And then if not, like I
Yeah,
said, Anya,
for sure.
we can do our one-on-one. But you might get a few ideas tonight. Maybe not tonight as much, but tomorrow night I'm actually gonna be like literally I'm getting a GPT, another one that's just a GPT plus like everybody else. And I'm gonna basically, I'm already onboarded, but I'm gonna set everything up tomorrow night. That way I can, it'll take about an hour and just show everybody how I kind of suggest setting things up, projects wise and all that. So yeah, I mean, cool. And then you're in Detroit, so that's a good area. I'll hook you up with Scott Atkin too. I've been keep trying to get hold of him. He's obviously busy with the ATF. So yeah, so you're doing. Are you looking? You were looking at single family, right? Like, or
Yeah, I'm building a single family rental portfolio. I have some multifamily in, but just like twos and threes, and I'm doing some private money lending out of my 401k.
cool.
Yeah,
And you want to definitely check out lender mode, and once you all got all your stuff situated, as well as there's a lot of resources there that'll help you with the lending side and all that. I put some cool stuff in there. So cool. Yeah. So anybody wants to reach out to Kevin, like I said, he's in Detroit. So we'll do the one-on-ones. All right. Cool. Let me go ahead and guys, everybody, I'm going to kind of walk. I'm going to kind of talk about a Zoom I did last night, but I'm going to kind of real quick just really go into. Let me get in here. So we're doing a. That was for the Zoom. That was for that thing. Okay. So guys, when we're talking about, like I said, I'm trying to set up my project. So tomorrow night I'm going to actually be in here instead of my workspace and my business account. I'm going to be like setting up a personal account, a second one, just so I can kind of onboard as all of you, because you guys know, I have all my chats here and all the projects and all that. But what I wanted to talk about a little bit tonight is. Like I said, we've got the different GPTs, and we want to talk a little bit about Core. Is the one that you guys have. If anybody doesn't actually have the one that says RCIC Core and it still says Prompt Assistant, let me know and I'll get you that the updated Bitly link, because I did change it. The other ones we'll talk about, we'll start working on is Engage. Will be the second one. We'll probably start on that one in April. Everybody will want Engage, because Engage is like it's like kind of having your own Well, it was at a comms mode when I wasn't able to add it and now it is in core. So Engage is kind of like having your own marketing agency, your own AI agency, and then we got like Operator, Capital Exchange, so the different ones, and we'll go through those. But really, the core tonight, guys, when you really want to get in here, the first thing, obviously, and I'm going to show you tonight, and then tomorrow night, I'm actually going to do the process, and then I'll close out tonight with talking about a Zoom I did last night. So when you guys get into that prompt assistant, you have that screen, you're in default mode. And so in here, they talk about Intel qualification, offer contract, close review as a system. So you want to get your buy box defined first. And remember that anytime you're in RCIC and you get stuck for any reason, just put return to default. It'll take you back to default, and you can just start over. The goal thing is now with 5.4. I think I'm on auto right now, but in 5.4, you guys will see that when you guys are that it'll say follow up where it says thinking. You can actually type a follow up question if it's already in progress, meaning you've already hit enter. It's working on something for you, and you want to follow up. Maybe all of a sudden you don't like the way it's going, and you want to. It won't. The best part is it won't like repeat and start over. It used to start over, so you might lose what you saw, what you already did. So that's a good thing that you have the follow-up tool now that is in there, and that's just through the prompt assistant bar like normal. Don't forget, guys, also you can add your photos and files in here, and then of course you got agent mode and you got your apps and all that stuff. But the default workflow, so you've got these and this will come up for all of you, so you don't have to worry about necessarily saving it tonight. But if you guys want to get into lead sourcing, list strategy, you can get into this. You can use these. You can just copy and paste and put them right in the prompt bar. So if you want to get through deal numbers, assumptions, or deal review, you want to get into seller messaging, your workflow. You want to set up your CRM or your KPIs. You can go to pipeline. Skip traces, skip trace. We also have that skip tracing war room, guys. That skip tracing war room prompt is in both Facebook groups. You can go into files tab, and that has an incredible. I think Eric's was using that, and that is really. You still could use a paid service if you wanted to for skip tracing on top of it, but the skip tracing does phenomenal. I've been trying to use it, and I'm going to show that. So tomorrow night, like I said, I'm going to set everything up, and then next week I'm actually going to start running tools and start including skip tracing because I want you guys to see. I'm actually going to set my own buy box up and start running tools over the next, and it's going to be like 4 Thursdays. I'm going to try to I want to get it to predictive because I've been telling you guys about predictive intelligence, and I posted some stuff today in the Facebook groups about how it becomes predictive, that it takes 7 or 8 sessions usually, meaning once it's predictive, it'll start actually getting to know you. When it gets to know you, it's going to start sending you suggestions and things because it gets, that's when it started sending me stuff like, here's the actionable opportunities in Colorado. Not only does it send me the top 10 every week on Thursday, it sends me the top 25 nationally, which is why I get DeKalb County. I got like Yakima, Washington, and got somewhere in Arizona. Forget it wasn't Phoenix and it wasn't Tucson, and then I also got Delaware. And I didn't never put anything in for those states in my markets. So it's kind of cool once it gets to know you and it knows what you're looking for, what you're doing. It'll actually go through and find things. Why? Because everybody's putting in their markets. So as I talk about, like you guys see down at the bottom, the workspace, the GPT, everybody's working in the GPT. All that compounding intelligence is basically meaning that it's getting smarter and smarter. So if somebody's working in Nevada, like, we got Curtis is in Nevada. We also got Edith Tapia, who's in Nevada. She's not using RCIC yet, but she will. But as you get more and more people, especially all you guys in Michigan, all the people in the Southeast, and all the people in Texas, all that intelligence, all that stuff, those markets are coming alive. So meaning you don't necessarily even have to, very soon you won't even have to do anything. When you deploy your agents, it'll be a lot easier. You'll get stuff a lot faster. So the first thing you guys want to do is build your buy box. And like I said, this comes up for you guys. So when you hit that start, it'll come up and you can kind of maybe copy and paste it and build a project, or copy and paste it and put it in like in something that where you can then you can kind of maybe take it off to the side and then fill this out. and add some things. You got notes, but obviously your name and what you go by, so it knows you, what your market, city count, zip code, what the asset types is, what your strategy is, and then what your price range is. If you're doing flips and you're only looking to be 100, 200,000, you got a range. Put that in there, guys. These are your filters. You guys see like PropStream and Deal Machine are always talking about filters. You guys don't have to worry about that. This is going to bring you exactly what you look at. You're not going to get a bad deal. You're not going to get something you wouldn't do. Maybe you won't do it at the time, but you're not going to get, and you can, and like I said, you can go in and change this on the fly. So all of a sudden you get a little busier and you want to cut back a little bit, or, you can cut back on that. You can cut back on the markets, or say maybe, for the next month, don't do, these zip codes of these counties, or you can actually expand it. If all of a sudden you're looking at maybe there's some stuff going on in the next county. We talk about El Paso County, Colorado Springs. There's a lot of zip codes down there. And 80917 and 80916 can be very different. 80917 has a lot more commercial. 80916 has a ton of, like, a lot of subdivisions that were built in the last 10, 15 years. So there's a considerable amount of, potential foreclosures at 80916. So if you start getting inundated, you might just want to take out 80916 and just do 917, because it still has some residential, single family, but it's not going to be, with all the commercial there, you may not see as many. So you can, like I said, you can expand and contract at your will. You don't have to go to like PropStream or Deal Machine, where you probably go through their process to get an update. And in fact, in some cases, it could actually affect the subscription rate. Here, you basically can. This is at your will. At 2:00 in the morning, if you decide you want to make a change, you can make a change on the fly. It usually will take about 24 hours to affect what you're getting for output, but you can change it on the fly. You can put in your condition, or you got your equity or discount requirements, and you can ask learning mode. So you can also put this in learning mode. It'll teach you all about this. Yeah, you got your condition tolerance. Do you like light, medium, heavy, or tear down, or scrape? Do you like what's your preferred distress signals? Probate, eviction, foreclosure, tax, code, vacancy, surplus? What kind of timelines do you like, and what your capital position is? Cash. You need an HML, a private lender, JV, or none. Put in your notes, and then go into the modes. Default for strategy, systems, workflow design. Resident is where you're going to spend most of your time, unless you're a wholesaler, a lender, a TC. And then, like I said, rehab is, everybody will be using rehab for scope, sequencing, and budget bands is what they call it. And comms, like I said, for outreach scripts and external messaging. All of your external messaging and outreach is from comms mode. And then, like I said, we'll go into engage later, because that takes it up a few notches. If you're a lender, but also if you're just, you guys can go to LenderMet, and it'll have a lot of stuff in there for conceptual underwriting and leverage discussions. Wholesaling is, if you go into wholesaling too, you'll get a lot of assistance with acquisition strategy, MAO logic, and all that, buyer communication, which will help you even if you're not a wholesaler, but you're looking to acquire, it'll help you a lot. But you get into resident distress intelligence. It's where you're going to go to the AHJ. You got AHJ mapping. We saw the market guides. You can make market guides like I've made for a few people. And anybody that wants a market guide, let me know, and I can make one. And then you guys can kind of copy it after that when you expand it. You got probate, foreclosure, tax, and vacancy. So a lot of times, like I said, you're going to spend most of your time, unless you're a lender or a TC, you're going to spend most of your time in resident. But wholesaling will help you. And then you guys will see, you'll get all your commands. Help me build a buy box for Phoenix. Yeah, you can sit there and do this, list rank. Then you got the war room, analyze this lead using RCIC war room protocol. And that's in there. You got deal review. So like I said, you guys, when you guys go into the start mode, you can actually go in there and just copy and paste these and build these into the projects, as I'll kind of show tomorrow night. Then you got your first templates. You got a buy bar card above. It's your starter template. Our rule is blunt and useful. If you can't describe it in 60 seconds, it's not a buy box, it's a wish list. So it's like an elevator pitch. If you can describe your buy box in 60 seconds or less, you know what you're, it's a pretty good situation. Now, we don't expect everybody to get that right away, but like I said, you want to be able to describe your buy box in 60 seconds or less. So you get your first deal submission template. Again, when you go into this on yours, you can actually just take this and I would just build a project and put it in a project and leave it in the first the first, I don't know exactly what it's called, but the first when you go to projects, that way you got it there, and then you go down to your next entry would be like, then you can fill out the actual specific information, so you can kind of keep them separate a little bit. You got your risk flags, and everything gives you guys a time box, and it's going to tell you exactly what it should take you to do this. To do your buy box draft should take you 10 or 15 minutes. Mode selection for current workflow. Actually, it should take you less than that once you get used to it. First structured command, first deal submission. There's also a 7-day starter plan, so you guys can go in here and pull this up, and it works you through, build your buy box on day 1, day 2, rank your top 3 lead sources, day 3, run 1 lead through, day 4, draft seller messaging, day 5, run 1 opportunity, day 6, run your acquisition stages, day 7, review risk flags, tighten criteria, repeat. You can do this all in faster. You could probably even do it in 1 day, but I'm trying to say, try to do something every day in your first 7 days, because what we're trying to do is get you between day 7 and day 30, it'll go productive. Meaning once it gets to know you, once you train it, remember you're training it, and it's pretty cool. And then like I said, now you'd go and paste your buy box. So come back up here and copy your buy box, and then paste your buy box here. And then before you push enter, go ahead and just fill it out. Put the off to the side. So go ahead and copy and paste here, and then go in there, and then what I would do is actually just make a. Sometimes one of the coolest things you can do is you can just make a forward slash, and then make a space, and then it will know that you're actually something else is it's not, that way it's not running onto the same conditions. So before the forward slash, you put your buy box, so you go buy box, and then forward slash, and then you'd put you can start putting all the information in there as you see fit. Another thing that works is obviously the greater and less than arrows. That also works a lot of times. So those are two tips. Use greater and less than, and also use forward slash. It's kind of cool that way. So I'm going to put return to default. I'm trying to walk you guys through some of this stuff, and then tomorrow night, like I said, I'm actually going to set it up live while you guys watch. Or hopefully, if you guys have a way to watch with two devices where you can watch, but you can also be on a laptop or something, that helps, because you guys could be then whatever we're doing live in the group from now on. That's kind of what the goal is now over the next few weeks, is to get everybody to actually be working on stuff while we're on the sessions. That way it's just not me talking all the time. So you got your next actions, strategy, workflow, deal structure, KPI. You can get into your working template and all that, and your risk flags. But what I'm going to go ahead and do, and it's just easier for me to go back to RCIC Core to start with real quick. Because what I want to do is go through and that's your buy box, but switch modes. Let me see if I can do it from here. Okay, so we're going to go into learning mode real quick. Let's see, sometimes you have to put switch, and sometimes it shouldn't give you feedback, but it might take a second. So learning mode is now active. Focus on education, concept breakdowns, glossaries, training plans, risk aware. So you guys can go through this as well. You can ask for a concept, request a training plan. Like if you want to have a training plan, to improve or how to do KPIs, how do you build your plan, your business plan, foreclosure intelligence, underwriting, title, rehab, or dispositions. You can paste a deal term or workflow, and it'll teach it in plain English. So what we want to do tonight is, let me try to think. Anybody got a topic? Anybody got something you're working on that you want to kind of get some more information on? Feel free to bring it up, and we'll run it. So what I'm going to say tonight is, can you give me, can you educate us on going from a single family investor to multifamily? So I'm just kind of showing this as an example. You guys can, I mean, literally you can go any topic, any strategy. If you wanted to explain cost segregation or 1031 exchange, it'll teach you this. And you can go as basic as you want. You can ask for a basic, elementary level, or you can go all the way up and say, can I have the MIT version? Because I put so much stuff in here. So it talks about the jump from single family investing to multifamily is less about buying a bigger building and more about changing how you think. From property by property investing to operating a small business inside a real estate asset. I'm not going to go through this, line by line, but just kind of telling you how deep you can go in this education part. So it gets you into how to do a structure, what carries over from single family. So it goes into the biggest mind shift, it gives into the mindset shift. It'll get into the practical transition model. It starts giving you a lot more information when you have to start looking at rent rolls and market rent versus in-place rent, other income, delinquency, bad debt, concessions, payroll repairs, utilities, admin, turnover, NOI, debt service, cash reserves, and all that. It gets into understand the asset classes. So it's really good on that. It gets into larger multifamily, 75 units and beyond. And then you get into 5 core areas you must learn: valuation, financing, operations, due diligence, and then you got exit strategy. And it's pretty cool. So like I said, I'm just kind of showing you guys, the capabilities of it. It gets into bridge strategies. So like I said, I'm not trying to go through line by line. You guys can do this if, anything that you're interested in. If you want to learn about, let's say real quick, return to learning mode. Can you teach me how to acquire a mobile home park? So you guys put anything you want: self-storage, assisted living, land, glamping, mobile home parks, RV parks, single family, STRs. Do you want to be a lender? Do you want to lend EMD? Or you want to lend GAP? Do you want to do transactional funding? What do you want to do? I mean, you can put anything in here. Do you want to learn about this? You get into so this, like I said, this is mobile home. It's pretty cool. It'll teach you this. It's awesome. Like I said, I'm just trying to show you guys what you can do in this. Return to learning mode. Yeah, maybe a little slow. There you go. So yeah, it's pretty cool on this. Can you teach me about syndication and securities attorneys? So I don't teach you all the syndication stuff. So if you want to learn about it, it's pretty cool about that. It talks about who's allowed to invest. It'll get into the 506C and 506B. You can get, helps with how to select a securities attorney. So it's pretty thorough on this. Okay, so kind of just showing you guys a little bit, because like I said, tomorrow night I'm going to go pretty much live and show you guys a walkthrough on what I do. But I'm going to go ahead and real quick and show you guys Engage, because that's going to be the next GPT. I know you guys, a lot of you guys are still getting used to Core, but let me go ahead and try to see if I can, how long it'll take me to, oh, there you go. So Core, Engage, there's Campaign, but let me go back to Engage real quick. Engage, basically the AI marketing strategist for real estate operators. So you can write high converting copy. You can do all your copy. You got 2 options for that. You've also got deal flow marketing plan, and you can craft your unique, position, marketing position. But let's go to build my deal flow marketing plan. So like I said, if anybody needs Engage, I'm going to send you guys all these. You get all 6 of them anyway. And just like I said, probably don't want to start getting too deep into them, so you get in the weeds. But Engage is going to be the next component, the next GPT you're going to want to use after you get Core down. So you got to put a market niche, experience level, and budget. But what will happen is it'll do a diagnosis on your investor marketing. And we buy houses. Cash is not a strategy; it's a category language. So, like I said, I'm just giving you a couple of highlights. When you guys use Engage, you'll be able to actually go in there and do. It's incredible. All your seller outreach, a lot of your marketing stuff, you'll be able to do a lot of cool stuff and how to talk to people, and they say, who exactly are you targeting? There's 5 questions. What exact problem are you solving? Are they done with tenants? They inherited a house and needs too much work. I need to sell without listing repairs or delays. I need flexibility because the situation is messy. Why you instead of the next investor? What is your mechanism? What is the next stop? And then it gets into everything. So, like I said, even Engage. I mean, think about all the other GPTs. You guys will have, like I said, I'll start sending them over to you if you don't want, make sure you got Core first, that it doesn't say RCIC Prompt Assistant. If it does, let me know. I'll get you that new Bitly, and then I'll get you Engage. And like I said, then just let me know when you want the next ones, because it's, you guys can get it. It's going to teach you the same thing. You can ask for learning mode to teach you any of this stuff, but it gets into direct mail. It gets into target lists. It gets into, the core messaging. You can go, it tells you how to set up a schedule, how to do SMS follow-up for all your direct mail, your age leads, skip trace niche, lists. It gets in all that. It gives you a follow-up cadence. It can help you craft that. Your seller landing page, it'll actually help you set up your landing page. It'll suggest your headlines, your sub-headlines, and you can write you can write out all your ads, and it'll help you with that. And then you got your lead handling system. You're into everything. 90-day execution calendar. You can set up for 90 days, days 1 through 15. It's really thorough. KPIs. You can set up all your KPIs. You got all your messaging, core investor statement, direct mail opener, texting, website call to action, objection responses, what not to do. The stronger version of your plan in 1 sentence. So it's awesome this way with Engage. It's pretty great. Now we get into capital. So it's not, like I said, I'm running you through what these other ones are. RCIC Capital OS is a structured capital readiness and deal alignment assistant for multifamily and commercial real estate operators. This system does not provide lender lists or public directory. Instead, it helps operators assess my capital readiness for institutional lenders. So those of you who are into multifamily and you want to start raising, you need more money, you need millions, you need more, lenders that are more investors. You need, a lot more accredited investors and stuff. Stress test your deal assumptions before your capital assessment. It's awesome that way. What weaknesses would lenders likely flag in this deal? Put all your deal information in there. It'll actually help you go and figure that out. What documentation disclosures you need. Okay, so then you get into, that's capital, and I'll show you guys campaign operator and exchange. And then I'll kind of give you guys an update on the Zoom I did last night. A structured operating system for real estate operators in the multi-agent area enforces deal standards, stress testing, AHJ scoring, execution tracking, and its operator. Basically, it's like KPI is what OPA stands for. It'll be, it's pretty cool. Switch to your weekly operator mode. You can build a full seller lead campaign for your off-market properties, expand your campaign. You can target a new niche, or you can audit your funnel. Your leads are coming in but not converting. So you can do switch to weekly operator mode. So it's going to help you. You're going to have to put some input on your spend, your all the leads, appointments, contracts. It'll teach you everything. Landing page, your lead appointment rate, appointment contact rate, sales cycle length, channel breakdown. You can get into your funnel enforcement. So when you're setting up your funnels and all that, and like I said, you guys don't have to do any of this. You can do what you want. It's yours. But if you want to go further and down, like you're getting into multifamily, larger acquisitions, things like that, you've got all these. You can just tap into it. You don't need to go and find people that can help you with this. You've got all the systems, and it'll teach you, it'll walk you through. It's a machine. It's patient. There's no emotion in it. You're taking all the emotion out. You get into AHJs, you get into execution, OPI, the scoring. It gets into everything. It tells you about you need to put in the data that it's going to ask for and the conversion chain. So that's operator. Then you get into campaign that will show exchange. So campaign is structured marketing operator for real estate investors and agents. Build full campaigns, rotate angles, kind of like, and angles might be like when Madison Avenue or ad agencies are pitching like Coke or Ford. It's different angles on a campaign, a marketing campaign. Diagnose your bottlenecks weekly. You can set all this up. You can get updates on it, and run discipline testing designed to replace random ads and vague optimization with repeatable, systemized deal flow. So that's pretty cool. You can do a lot of stuff with that. And then you guys get into. We'll get an exchange real quick. Exchange is kind of interesting now. I'll send it to you guys when you want it, but I'm trying to work on some ideas, and probably when everybody's fully capable on core, I think we'll probably have a special session where we'll go over some stuff. But think about it as kind of, let's say, I don't know, we talked about, let's say Bill John and Jealous ran that list of PropWire properties, that one Zoom 325. After he got down to what was going to be in his buy box, what was going to meet what he could do. Let's say out of 5 deals, he only wants to do 1 or 2. Those are the 3 are really great deals for someone. So we're calling it reallocation instead of wholesaling it. It could be within most of the time it's going to be within the group. And so we set up a system where, he's got 3 properties, and maybe, I don't know, Curtis, maybe you like one of those properties, maybe Amanda, you like one, Doris likes one. It's like, so we can kind of reallocate it and try to keep everything in house as much as we can. If we need to go outside the group, then it just becomes regular wholesaling. But it's a better process for that, where we can actually kind of all work together because we're going to have access to stuff that before anybody else does. So why not?
This is where the rubber actually is meeting the road here. There's been about probably 20, 25 years worth of work that's gone into this at various points. And what Nate's been able to do here is he's been able to bring it home. And what I mean that is anybody that has a cell phone, and nothing much more than that, can do this and be perfectly fine. Whereas before, you had to go through an awful lot of this, a little bit of that. You had to find this person, or at least get together with that system or whatever. This isn't so much a system, it is an entire industry in a box, because you could do anything. This isn't just about doing single family, multifamily, or family of any family. You could use this with commercial real estate, rural real estate, any kind of real estate for that matter. And that's something nobody else has really done. It's all been compartmentalized, and everybody had to specialize in this and that. Anybody now can do this. Okay. So what's going to end up happening tomorrow is you're actually going to see it built from the ground up, from scratch. Okay. Everybody's on the same page, on the same line, on the same note. He doesn't even know what's going to happen. Okay. But that's the fun about this. This is going to show exactly how powerful this is, because anybody can understand what this is doing while it's being built. They're already done. All they got to do is just set theirs up. It might take them an hour, and then just walk away. Do what it tells you to do, If it asks you a question, do the research and put it back in there. But not having any emotion is probably the biggest advantage because you have a clear vision without a doubt which direction and what you need to do. Whereas if you had even the least bit of the other emotion or any at all, you're not going to see what this thing sees. And this thing only sees the truth so long as you give it the truth. So you can't fudge anything when you're building this. Okay. You got to tell it exactly what the story is. And then it'll run with it, but it'll do it based on you and nobody else. So you have a key to what everybody else has, but you're the only one that has access to your personal copy of it. And it may be different than somebody else's. Okay. But the end game is still the same. So when he's talking about this is more like relocation or reallocation versus wholesaling. Okay. This also goes with information, learning, anything that has anything to do, anybody's experience, all of a sudden goes into this thing and all of a sudden, bam, there you are. Okay. This is something that nobody has ever seen before. It's going to happen tomorrow night for the first time. I haven't spoken that much since I was in the Fed that one day.
It's going to go through. Okay. So I'm trying to get back to what I was, because I ran this last night. Getting back to your question, Amanda, about those ones that I reverse engineered. So last night I was on, I can't even remember now the organization. So they did a Zoom, and the gentleman was on there. It was about 45 minutes when I left. So basically he was kind of doing AI stuff, and of course he came in and said, "Oh, no one else is doing what I'm doing." Well, he had a screen that was about probably a 70-inch screen, like behind him. He was like standing like in a, I don't know, kind of like an office or something with a big like television screen, kind of a touch screen behind him. It was pretty large, and it looked like an MLS. I'm kind of trying to get back to there real quick. So he was, needless to say, people could actually go in there. They would have all the properties listed. I mean, it looked like an MLS. They would have ARV. They'd have all the rehab. I mean, literally all the numbers and stuff were there. People could pull up different numbers. He didn't demo exactly how it works, but he was showing a lot of stuff saying this only works for single family up to 4 units. It doesn't do anything with multifamily, so that lost some of the people in the room. The other thing is after he goes into all the single family, the 3 deals that he brought up that he did himself for the last 5 years were all multifamily. So it's like you're going into all the single family trying to sell this program that it basically looks awesome. I mean, literally, but I would have to, anybody that was doing it's going to have servers, probably going to have to people that are probably programming it, because it's more, I mean, it's pretty impressive. I can't, obviously they don't let you like copy the Zoom, and they're not doing a replay of it, but it's like it was really impressive, and he's doing everything that RCIC does. But get this, at the end, when it came down to the price, $60,000 is what he was charging for people to access his program, plus an annual fee after that. Like, I think it was like $5,000 a year after that. So it was pretty impressive. He's doing everything that RCIC does. The only thing is RCIC, we don't need servers. We don't, even in the cloud. So that's why people have asked about it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find what I did last night. I think this is actually the conversation. That's why I'm trying to get back to it. Let's see if I get back to it. Oh yeah, this is actually what I did last night for reverse. I reverse engineered it. I kind of brought in some pictures I took of. Actually, you guys can see this. I took pictures of my computer screen of parts of his presentation, just because I was like wanted to learn it. It's pretty cool when he talks about his AI deal engine, and then I'll get down to the end result. Now, I know these are blurry, guys. I just took a picture with my iPhone when I was on the Zoom. You get down in here, he talks about, like, this is not software, this is a competitive advantage. Speed, certainty, and access. It's all trill, it's all valid. Let's see if I get down to, here you guys go. And I don't know if you can see it too clearly, so I apologize. He was showing this is what his deal was. Community, AI pitch a deal engine. and here it goes like 1,000 a month. It was like we already have the community here for RCIC. We had it, starting in 2019 and 20. Then you get into the advanced AI legacy basic his analyzer access, and that was like 21,000, but it was crossed out. So now they got Legacy Elite AI Deal Finder Pro, and it's $60,000. So I was on that last night, and I was like, at that point, I was just like, wow, if people actually sign up for this, they should really be coming to RCIC, because you guys saw my post this morning. Imagine if you, instead of 60 grand, they just put, when we go to April 1st, 1,000 for core, another 1,000 gets you any two of the remaining 5 GPTs, 3,000's all in all 6. You guys already have them. Anybody that's coming on now for $399. So think about somebody that could. Some people can't. Most people can't pay $60,000. What do they do with that $57,000? Well, you guys can sit there and know that you can show that as reserves, or use that as your down payment to get deals done instead of giving it to somebody like that. So this is what I do in these reverse engineering sessions.
Or a halfway decent rehab cost.
Yeah. So here I go, and I go into it. I basically go through and talk about, what is $60,261. And so he had his community $1,200 a month. Access to deal room community's core AI tools. Tier 2 was advanced AI legacy basic analyzer access. So just for that, it was $21,261. Deeper analytics for higher deal volume. And then he got into the legacy elite plan with $60,261. And then it had full market scouting, geo coverage, advanced signals, and then they had like coaching and stuff like that. So basically, this is what I do a lot of times with these review. I mean, I put a lot of stuff in there when I'm out there on Facebook. I'll just basically, just like here, I'll just go and copy and paste, and I'll enter it in here, and I'll review it. Not really to compete with them, but I'm trying to say, what can I learn about different things that I can pump into RCIC that'll help you guys. If somebody's out there doing some strategy. I can tell you, how many in here think there's a brand new strategy out there that you haven't heard of before? They're all recycled. So I just want to kind of show you guys that that's kind of what I do on the reverse engineering. Obviously, I had more interest in that last night because he's doing AI, but of course, he was talking down, telling people not to use GPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever, and it's like, so I don't know what he's actually using for the AI. It could be using OpenClaw or something like that. I don't think he looks like he spent a lot of time on it, so I don't think he was quite using OpenClaw since that just came out a couple weeks ago. But I put it. This is all the information I put in there. Clean acquisition workflow, better team coordination, disciplined decision engine. But everything in here is we're building up RCIC. You guys saw my post a couple of days ago of building even a better deal engine than we have, deal analyzer than what we have, and getting input from all of you. So when you go into your RCIC, you know that here's a deal analyzer that should be able to ask any question. The first thing I should do is ask you what asset class and what strategy do you want to use for this deal. Then it can pull up. You guys know that I have all the all the knowledge. Let me show you guys that real quick and while I'm talking. So let's say you go in and say in our deal analyzer, it's the one that's going to be built, and I'm definitely wanting all of your input. So you go in and ask your, ask you what you're doing. Are you doing multifamily, or what are you doing? Are you doing something with so it asks you the strategy. It's just then start asking you questions that are going to help you with like IRR and cap rate and all that. You guys know that this is all these packs, the knowledge safe pack, skip trace intelligence. Here's the professional mode guide, the prompt library for RCIC, the capital stack guide, the zoning and AHJ guide, investor intelligence, custom instructions. I've got all this stuff in there. The deal flow conversation, wholesale friendly title companies. So when you guys and if you guys want that spreadsheet independently, let me know and I'll send it over to you. All this information is in there, and all this information when we have this deal engine, there's going to be a slot for it, and it's going to be like it should be able to cover everything. Single family, because I have a lot of deal analyzers and calculators. Kevin can tell you I probably got like 20 of them. They're in files and stuff. everything's short-term rentals,
It's
syndication
just that there's
analyzers.
a massive library of stuff just that we have amassed doing
Yeah.
what we've been doing for about the last 14, 15, 16 years. And it's all come into AI. And when you get it mixed with this is what he's been looking at with what he's going to show you tomorrow or how he's going to go through this tomorrow, you're going to see a whole different ballgame because it's going to be a merger between the two that's going to make this thing change. And both of these systems on their own are huge.
Yeah, 12,000, roughly 12,000.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, both of these databases are going to be incredible. Putting Nate's stuff together with this program and this kind of programming is just going to be unreal.
Because you guys can go into some of the stuff just on my desktop. We've got like asset best. This doesn't even get into my documents, but I'll show you guys a couple things real quick. That like you guys see this one where it says Part 1, Part 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's my student book of when I became a private money broker, and this is 172 pages. And there's a sample loan files and more sample loan files and other resources, a student book, and all the handouts. There's about 400 pages here of material that has gone in RCIC. So you guys can see all this stuff. I've got all the checklists, and we got these prop wire, their calculator, all this. It's just incredible. You guys can see all this stuff has gone into it. A lot of these little books, if you guys go to the Patreon, you can see in shop, there's a lot of little ebooks I was building. They're like, they're not like real true ebooks. They're PDFs and Words. You can, they can be downloaded 5 pages. Some of them are larger, like 50 pages. They did a really good job. I was building them all. If you guys go there to the shop, and I'll give you guys anybody wants to see it, send me and I'll send you the link. I'll send them to you because they're all right here. You guys can see them. They're different components. Like it takes me 3 or 4. I have the different chapters and stuff like that, the different revisions and, the funding deal. We got the private money playbook. This was done in May of 2025. Most of these were done before RCIC because at this point, like I said, I was building it. I was getting everything organized to put it into websites. And this is what RCIC came out of this. So it's pretty cool. Stored value talks about it. There's wholesale checklists. We got a couple of different things in there that are pretty sweet. A lot of good stuff. There's GitHub. There's a funding kit, financing questionnaires, a lot of TC stuff. I mean, tons of stuff in there. We put a lot of deals. I probably put 30 or 40 OMs and PPMs in there. So it can reference a lot of private placement memorandums and offering memorandums. There's broker presentations.
If you want to learn how to set up a private brokerage, he's got all the forms, all the different stuff that's going on with that you would need to do it. Not to mention all the SEC stuff that goes with it. The banking that you have to go through, all of this stuff. He's just been sitting here amassing this huge amount of stuff. And the tools that you have, all you have to do is plug your brain into this thing, and it's going to be incredible to see what comes out of it. Because everybody that's in this thing up to this point is extremely talented as it is. So you can just imagine what this is going to look like in about 6 to 8 months. This is the importance of what's going to happen tomorrow when he actually sits down and does this.
Yeah, you guys
everybody's going to be able to be on the front page, on the front line, doing it with him. And this is basically starting a whole new deal is what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Yeah. And everybody that's participating in it is going to have a hand in seeing a whole new thing come about where everybody else is going to start doing it. Pace Morby doesn't have anything on us, at least not me. We don't know it yet. So the whole point of the matter is, there's been a lot of massive amounts of industry things happening behind the scenes that are just not coming to the forefront. And we've been kind of steering this thing from a distance for about the last 8 to 10 years. I go back to 2010, and that's on the finance side. I went to real estate back in the 90s, and then my whole family for generations has been playing with real estate in one form or another. So I'm telling you, this is going to be exciting tomorrow. Everybody, if you know anybody, you need to make sure they see this.
And here's family office.
Yeah, this is a whole different deal here. So
And we got these, you guys, all these hedge fund and all these databases that I'm showing now. We got them, a lot of them. Well, we got a lot of the lenders and stuff. Everything that came through has been vetted and verified by organizations like the Family Offices Club. Kevin, you want to talk about them? Because you remember you had that conversation when
yeah,
we
we've had a number of opportunities, and I think Nate's actually been at these things to get to some conferences and see just what kind of a vibe you get from this and where it is with everything else. And he's had some interesting comments. The MPLA that I was talking about earlier this evening. Okay, this is something you have to understand. Nate was at the first meeting of those guys had at the convention center over there in Phoenix. It was with him. I think it was the first year that he started doing that stuff, wasn't it? You went in on the September one, and they have like 3 of these a year. So the whole point is they got in there and were able to talk about the whole thing about the private money situation that we have, and it was unique then. And it's just been building, and then he's been in charge. He's been in touch with other people between now and then. That's what he does behind the scenes, in case nobody knows. And he's been able to run it by them, and they're getting the same reactions. So this is going to be fun tomorrow. And whatever you guys are doing or have been doing up to this point, once you plug this in, you're never going to see it. It's going to be a whole nother world.
Yeah, and you guys, that's one of
everybody
those.
that does this, everybody that's in this group does this. It's going to be incredibly, incredibly successful. But just that alone.
Rosen right there, and that's his son's right next to him. But he was he was the anchor for Financial News Network when NBC owned it, and that eventually became CNBC. They've done over 100 of these, and we spent $17,000 total on our booth, everything all in. And you guys have heard a little bit about. No, let me see. One more before we go, because I know everybody's kind of getting.
Yeah, this is going to get fun.
Hey Kevin, look what it is. Look what's here.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that, okay? God,
we would be done by now.
Well, it's not.
Those are questions, like I said, join us tomorrow night.
Negotiated a stupid, option on that property. I shouldn't even had to do that. Just tells you how crazy that whole thing was. I was trying to clean up the mess, and still those guys walked away and didn't even bother with it, and they would have come out with $250,000 because of what it sold for.
Yeah,
or nothing. Anyway, that's another thing. You'll never have that happen because this system's going to catch you before you get that far. That was like what, 4 years worth of stuff, 5 years there.
Yeah, Todd and Jeff were working on it before.
Right. Todd Profit,
Jeff Braden.
Yeah, well, Jeff was the guy that he and I got along great. He was the actual grounded person out of that whole bunch. But yeah, and he was right there with me when we put that stupid thing together. And the other guys are the ones that dropped the ball. So there you go.
COVID didn't help either. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I have probably 30 or 40 of those PPMs and OMs for different things, not including Blue Sky we were working on, but another building in Denver and all that stuff, all because of COVID. But we got tons of resources that I haven't begun to even talk to you guys about. There you guys go. Here's my YouTube. So when I put the video up, it generates it all for me. So I don't use timestamps because it's still I have to go in there and watch them like more in depth to find the exact times. If I know anybody's particularly looking for what we're talking about, there you go. There's my thumbnail. Then I'll make sure that I say, hey, go watch from 11 minutes and 21 seconds to 12 minutes and 40 seconds or whatever. I'll make sure people know that. But it just generated my for my Zoom for my YouTube video. So I'll put that up in the morning. Guys, I try not to do these on the night anymore. That way I have time to kind of think about, everything that happened. Anybody got any questions? I appreciate everybody's time and everybody's patience. Be prepared tomorrow night. We will probably go 2 hours. I'm going to, basically tomorrow about noon, I'll pay the $20 on my other laptop. And I have my my headset that I used to wear, and I'll have my this other laptop I've set up. Everything's set up except for the GPT. Like I can access and run everything that we normally run through it. But I'm gonna set up a separate GPT account under a different email and all that. And I'm basically gonna set up my buy box. I'll set up my buy box in the markets in the when I do that, and then when I come on tomorrow night, I will then show you guys how we can how I recommend setting up all your projects and all that. It's kind of cool depending on what you're doing, and it should make it a little bit more things click, and you can just almost just copy me if you want to, and then we'll put in agents over the next 4 Thursdays. I'm going to be doing different components of that, bringing it up live, so it's fully predictive. And when it's predictive and it's all the intelligence compounds, it basically starts thinking for you. It's pretty cool. Once it learns you, once you train it, it's like having another brain that works 1,000 times faster than yours. You guys already can see what it can do. I mean, we haven't even scratched the surface of what it can do. So I appreciate
Hey, Nate, this is Fred. I think maybe you touched on it, but I tell you one area I struggle with this is how to organize everything so I can find it. You touched on it a little bit, trying to find your going back and seeing the AI and how you prompted it and reverse engineered.
Yeah.
So maybe in your initial setup, talk about this is how you structure everything.
That's what I'm going to do, because obviously,
yeah, that would help out a ton.
You've seen mine on my, and I don't get into chats too much. I was using chats until February. I mean, I wasn't using projects at all. So now that I've seen what projects and I can see whatever, I'm kind of going back and reverse engineering. When I basically went from free GPT user to having my paid account, because I was organizing what I was going to do for what you guys just saw. I mean, the library, all the stuff that we've had, all the experience and all that. I now know where to put things for you guys, and where to recommend things, and we got the prompt chains and all that. Where the prompts go and how to organize it, and I believe it's going to start happening for a lot more people, because there's a lot of you are just like one prompt or one from clicking, just like Eric, because I did 2 one-on-ones with Eric and 2 or 3 tweaks, and then all of a sudden he was like way ahead of me and skip tracing and stuff, and I'm like, I want that. I'd rather have, because if I can get 25 or 30 people out there that are ahead of me, you guys are all working, then I can start working on the next, trying to build this out. Because the other thing I was talking about, and I don't want to be like, my goal is not to have like tons of people. There's not a website. I don't want to do a website where people just join and all of a sudden we got a tech support. Like I was talking earlier, the people who did last night's presentation, they could probably do that thing cheaper than 60 grand. But I also know that they've got servers, they've got programming, they've got a lot of stuff they've got to back up. And when data comes to you, comes through PropStream, all these companies, they've got to maintain that data. There's a cost to that. There's a lot of security, things like that. I try to make sure that you guys own everything. You own your data. You own everything. So that way I don't have to worry about like, hey, I've got 1,000 leads on my system that belong to you guys. I don't have a single lead on my system or a single foreclosure. I don't keep, it doesn't allow me to see anything anybody does, which is awesome. That's I think that's a huge selling point. Also, because they sell, they oversell, 100 people buy that same list. It's just like those family offices and hedge fund databases. I probably spent $10,000 on those, and a lot. Over the years, I've probably got $25,000 into my databases that I've invested, and so a lot of stuff is just trying to make sure you guys can access it. And so, like I said, tomorrow I'm going to take like a little slower approach. I'm going to build it. And I don't know if it's going to happen all at one time, like where it triggers. I think over the next 3 to 4 Thursdays, and I think if you guys just go make adjustments to yours, it's going to start firing. I mean, triggering what you guys want, where you guys want to be. Like I said, there's no way without maybe spending 8 hours on a Saturday or something doing, which I don't think anybody wants to do. So it's to get it built right. And not that anybody's not building it right. There's a lot of people who really, I don't know, Willie's using it for his business, almost everything. We probably got, out of 56 people, we probably got about half are probably not needing this, and the other half are probably needing some kind of, You know, it's kind of like playing that. What's that game? I don't know. That, God, I can't remember that game where the things fall, and you have to put them in, and build the blocks up or whatever. It's kind of like that, or it's kind of like reverse Jenga. You know, you can put these little blocks in, and then or Tetris. So yeah, it's like Tetris. So once you actually get it right or something, just one block or one thing is going to trigger everything for you. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So that's why I wanted to kind of to do that over the next 3 or 4 Thursdays. And we might, because I like Wednesdays. Wednesdays next week, I'll probably talk about more on structuring deals and stuff. That way, you guys can just start doing more and more, or you guys can start really running your business and getting everything done without at some point you can just be ahead of me, be ahead of and that's awesome. That's what I want. So anybody got any questions? If not, I will see you guys tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, and we'll go to 7 my time. And then I will record it, but I'm not going to put tomorrow night's out public. I'll just make sure it's in the Facebook groups. You guys know where to access that. Either Facebook group, I'll post them in there. And then if you guys want it specifically, because you got to go back and look at things, then just hit me up on Friday, and I'll try to get them to you. Try to get it to you. This one on Wednesdays I'll put out publicly so you guys can see it. Not only in the Facebook groups, it'll be on YouTube public, and it'll be in the on the main Facebook page, my name. So, all right, guys, I appreciate everybody.
Good deal, Nate. Thank you.
Take care, Nate. Kevin.
Yep.